Hey, what's going on, everyone? We're getting started in just a minute here. Street to Rage 2. I got a bunch of save states that we're gonna start corrupting at. Yeah. Just about a minute here. Alright, I think we're ready to go. Make sure everything's set on my end. Yeah. And that was from Hover. If you aren't familiar with Hover, I found a solution for not being able to pronounce names. Hideki Naganuma. It was a fantastic composer who composed Jet Set Radio, Hover, pieces from them, and Lethal League, at least the newer one. I wasn't sure if he composed anything for the older one. Anyways, fantastic composer, and it's some of my favorite music for video games. Anyways, we're doing Streets of Rage 2 tonight, which I believe everything's set up. I actually ran into sort of a weird issue. Can we have music in the background? You probably can. Really quiet music. Let's see if that works. Yeah, there we go. I ran into the weirdest issue where I deleted the Xbox game service. If you're unfamiliar with that, if you have a Windows 10 computer, anytime I open sort of a game capture window, which is anything emulation-wise, it will ask me if I'd like to stream it, and I never want to stream via Xbox gaming service. So I finally decided to remove that, and in doing so, any emulation I would run after the fact ended up throwing a random exception from either BizHawk or some Windows exception that I totally didn't recognize. So it delayed my stream by about maybe 30 to 45 minutes just trying to reinstall the Xbox game service, but then when I went to the store it would throw an exception because it wasn't supposed to be deleted via PowerShell, and it had a whole fiasco there. So that was my past half an hour. That's why I'm a little late, but I'm ready to get started. We are doing, this is on the Gen Plus GX. Let me see. So we have some new memory domains, kinda, available to us. It's not as much as, say, like the Sega CD. We have a lot of memory domains with the Sega CD. What specific system is this on? This is on just the Genesis. So we're only really going to be corrupting 2 or 3 memory domains, but the 2 that we are going to be corrupting, at least the 68K RAM and the Z80 RAM, both being sound and visuals, we're going to get a lot of good effects out of those, at least. On the Sega CD, the 68K RAM was like the godsend for those corruptions. That was with Sewer Shark, and we got a lot of good results with that. Hopefully we'll transfer that over. Outside of that, all of our other memory domains are unsafe, quote-unquote, to corrupt. If you corrupt any of those, it's unrewind safe, so if you try to reload a save state, it won't actually work because you're corrupting system functions, so you need to reboot the core after every single iteration. I could spend... Like, you can still get good corruptions out of that, but it would just take a lot longer to do so. So we won't be corrupting those as much, but we'll give it a try here and there when we're prototyping. Anyways, enough of me talking. Let's get started here. I just went ahead and made a bunch of save states, so we'll go off those, but we'll boot it up first and go through the intro. Music doesn't match, of course. In case you haven't seen the intro, I'll show it off for a moment. Actually, in fact, this moment right here is really pretty, and I would like to crop this. If I can think of a keystroke for it. Rewind. F8, I've used F9, I have not used, no I have F10, there we go. My last save state that I have available. I just wanted to see what this would look like corrupted. So let's blast that a couple times. Because it looks like a really pretty city, so I just wanted to kind of check that out. That's a little bit of music. Give you a little taste of what we're gonna see. Ooh, that was a cool one, look at that. Ah. I'm gonna turn off VRAM for these corruptions. See all the little effects that are applied to the city. Mostly just prototyping. We can turn off the Z80 RAM memory domain, and we can expect less sound corruptions. We'll still run into them because both RAM fields, the 68K RAM and the Z80 RAM, sometimes you'll run into graphical and musical corruptions for both. For example, there's a sound corruption. That was a very cool looking corrupted city. I like that one particularly. Okay, I'll stop messing around. But I need to remember save state 0 is my messing around one. I don't want to mess with any other ones. Evil was cast in its shadow over the city. There's those flashing effects in the background that we saw preemptively. Mr. X, the syndicate boss believed destroyed by the three. Oh, that's really fast. Come back to life stronger than ever, thirsty for revenge. He kidnaps Adam in an attempt to lure Axel and Blaze into a trap. Axel and Blaze get out for help with their faithful companion. You can pause, but I can't. We thought, in case you're not familiar with the lore, I'm not familiar with the lore. I probably should be reading it. I can read my head faster though. We're also gonna corrupt Tyr for a moment because I want to see his face being corrupted. If I can. Oh, there's a good one. Shoot. The thing with these is sort of like rapid prototyping, or quickly going through to see what we can corrupt. You can't really save those corruptions. If you try to rerun, you have to kind of get at like a moment's glance. That's a neat one. Oh, what'd I do? Yep. Okay, I'll stop messing around. Streets of Rage 2, 1992, Sega. We're gonna be doing one player, because we ain't got anyone to join us today. Speaking of joining people though, I kinda want to throw music again while I can talk about stuff. But something I tried doing with Wasabi, and it didn't work quite right at the time, due to where I was located. I didn't have access to the router that I'm using for the internet, and that's actually still the case where I'm currently at. I don't have access to the router that the internet I'm being provided, my ISP. I can't access the router to it or whatever. I would like to do some real-time corruption multiplayer where two RTC clients or two corruption clients can share. Actually, we can capture it here real quick. Multiplayer only supported in detached mode. No, we can't. We'll do that later. The way that works is there's a bunch of different sort of modes, and one of the ones I really like, it sort of works like a soundboard. So you have a soundboard, you have a bunch of buttons, and something funny happens, you hit a soundboard button and it makes like a wacky sound, like a quack or whatever. Something like that. The way you would link up two corruptors together is, say, for example, Wasabi is playing Balloon Boy or something like that. He's playing some emulation. And ahead of time, I made a stockpile of corruptions that I really enjoyed that are individual components that I can throw at his ROM while he's playing it. At any point, I can click on one of those buttons, and it would corrupt his game with the corruption that I specify. Now, doing it just right and getting those individual components, at any point you could corrupt a single memory location, and you would almost have the same effects anywhere within the game if it was that generic. Like maybe it was a model corruption, or it was a coloration, or it was a sound corruption. All those are pretty universal no matter where you throw them into the ROM. I should say, at any point in completion of the game, you'll still get the same effect. So I'd like to give that a go. Connecting them up is via just direct IP address, so there's a little problem with port forwarding there that I run into because I can't port forward where I'm at. In the future, I would like to do that. I will write that down. I think I have a little notepad file somewhere, a toStream. I do. That's where this file came from. Oh, I didn't mean to start. Streets of Rage 2 for the Genesis, we have done that. We're going to do RTC multiplayer at some point. I also need to do Factorio again as well. I love Factorio. And Dwarf Fortress. I got so many games I gotta play. But I love Corrupting so much. So, that's what I've been doing instead. I already chose, I just went ahead and did Blaze for this. But, yeah, you have your different characters. I should have done Max, but I didn't. So here's our save states. Without going any further, you would load in initially if you chose one of these guys. They're sort of out of order because I ran into that problem where my corrupt Factorial. I could absolutely corrupt Factorial. That would be a fun one. I would use the Windows Glitch Harvester if I had access to data files for Factorial, which I believe they make it very easy to do so. That's definitely a possibility. I'll look into that. Anyways, these are sort of out of order. Something got wonky with my save states when I was dealing with the Windows Store corruptions. I corrupted Windows Store, I just realized that. Unintentionally. Anyways, so here's a couple, I guess I have one on the main screen, which I can get rid of. A couple here in the bar. One with this guy, with Jen. One in this area, which looked pretty. One at the arcade, and I think that's actually it. Yeah, there's one here that got eliminated. And one here that's paused. Let's reset that one. So they're kind of out of order. For example, I think I'm not even going to use this one because we're going to get attacked right away. So, where are we going to begin? Where would we like to begin? I would like to begin here because it's a very calm moment and there's nothing really coming at us or attacking us. This is save state 6 within my manual save states. I'm now going to set a permanent save state within the Windows Glitch Harvester. And for all of these corruptions we're using the Windows Glitch Harvester, normally I like to do a little bit of prototyping ahead of time. Oh, that must be drowning me out. Sorry about that. Normally I like to do a little bit of prototyping to test out the memory domains we have available to us. We only really have one with the Genesis. That's 68K RAM. Nothing else we can really mess with there. So, let me grab the Windows Glitch Harvester. You can't see all of the windows. It wouldn't fit properly into the stream if there were so many windows. But anyways, there's a save state manager, and I'm just entering in this current moment in time into that save state manager. And now we can load that without issue. All good to go there. Now from here, let me describe the rest of these little dials and knobs that we have on screen. We already are familiar with the memory domains, so these are the different spots within the ROM that we're corrupting. If you was looking at it in a really basic sense, think of this as just the sound chip, the Z80 RAM, and if you just want to corrupt the sounds, you would do the Z80 RAM. The VRAM is the stuff that's just drawn to the screen. Actually, I do have a note about that. We don't usually corrupt to VRAM because it's only the stuff that's drawn to the screen. There's no actual mechanical corruptions going on. So you'll see if I just blast this a couple times, we get a lot of junk on the screen, and it's not necessarily interesting stuff. It just kind of looks like Clown Vomit in the end. A lot of Clown Vomit. Flashy and awful stuff. And what this really does is it masks any interesting effect that you have underneath almost entirely. There is no interesting corruption that I have seen that has just a ton of visual corruptions on top of it in this sense. It's just garbage that doesn't need to be there. If you have a very interesting chaotic corruption that maybe this could benefit, you might want to add it on top. But you'd be better off not corrupting VRAM, you'd be better off corrupting something like a system function that deals with drawing to the screen even before it's drawn to the screen. So we won't be using VRAM as a memory domain to mess with. We may mess with M68K bus. I think that's similar to system bus in the sense that that won't actually crashing, we might be able to restart save states, but we'll mess with that when the time comes. Just 68k RAM to start off with. And our intensity, I don't actually know. Let's do a little bit of prototyping with that. How about a 500 intensity? So that crashed it. These all, for the most part, crashing after just one blast. It's right around 500, I think we're in a good spot. You want it to be able to not crash most of the time when you blast the emulation. If I'm sitting here and I'm hitting manual blast almost 5 times before it crashes, that's probably not a good sign. I can up my intensity if I'd like. I think 500 is a good median now. So now we're going to start creating save states with blast layers attached to them. And I'll show you what that looks like. If I hit this blast send button within the glitch harvester, you're now going to see that there's an item within our stash history. I'll pause that so you don't hear the monotone sound. That save state has a blast layer applied to it, and we can actually look at that save state by opening it in our blast editor. All you have to do is right click it and open it in the blast editor. And this is the actual corruption that we're seeing on screen. In just bits and bytes and source addresses, this is everything that's going on. If we look at any random one of these, like this one here, this sets a value within the memory domain 68k RAM, the one that we're corrupting currently, at the source address 2067 within that memory domain, the value F2. And that's a lot of technical stuff that you might not really care about, but that is what creates the effects that we see on screen. And once we find something interesting, that little unit or that little memory write is going to become very important to us. But right now there's nothing too interesting. So I'm going to keep hitting blast send until I see an effect on screen that I like looking at. It might be a sound corruption. This one sounds like it's off pitch, but not too interesting. This one, so I'm a big fan of shadow corruption, so anything that sort of changes the color of shadows and makes it look entirely different to me. So I really like this one. I'd like to keep it. If we don't run into anything else, I'm going to say shadow corruption number 1. I'm going to throw that on the stockpile. We're not going to sanitize or anything like that yet. I'll keep that in mind in case I want to keep it. Moving on now. What I'm sort of looking for is anything, at least off the bat, mechanical going on. That's kind of cool if we wanted to keep the background being green. I don't. This one has a musical corruption attached to it. I still want something a little different from our first one, so let's keep going through this. We're almost there. I can try re-rolling this one, which just changes the values that are sent to the predetermined source addresses. See if I can affect that music and how it sounds. Kinda. It sounds like there's 2 tones going on. There's one, like, how would I even describe that? 2 parts of the song are moving at different paces. But, not too interesting to keep though. Let's keep moving on. There's something we might want to keep. So it had a little bit of a shake on screen. Maybe we want to keep that sort of earthquake effect. So let's just do this as one of our first ones. So I'm going to open this most recent item within our stash history, within the blast editor. In the blast editor, we're going to sanitize it a bit. What is that on screen? Oh, it's follow. I was wondering what that little purple thing was. Alright. So now we need to sanitize the corruption, which essentially all that means is we're just going to remove the unnecessary memory writes in order to capture just a perfect memory write that creates the effect that we're looking for. And to do that, instead of just randomly disabling these one at a time and trying to see if the effect we're looking for exists still, like there's the earthquake, so we can assume that these 4 that we just disabled we don't need. We can actually remove them. But we have 496 of these memory writes, so it would take just way too long to go through here and disable all of them manually. So we're just going to hit this randomly disable 50% of them instead, load the corruption, We notice that the earthquake effect is still there, so we can now remove those ones and disable them. And now we've went from like 496 to 248, so that's a much more significant amount. I'm going to continue in that fashion. Still got the earthquake effect, so 248 to 124. Still got it. 62. 31. 16. 8. I think some of the sound corruptions in the background are starting to disappear. Now you'll notice with this one, we're loading the corruption, yet we don't see the earthquake effect that we're looking for. And that tells me when I randomly disabled 50% in this case, the corruption that we're looking for was actually in that other 50%, so the 50% that we disabled in that case. So we can now invert the ones that we disabled, select that other half of the 50%, load the corruption once again, and now we see the earthquake effect, so we can remove disabled, and slowly we sort of whittle down this corruption until we have like 1 or 2 memory writes. So there we go. Now we have a single memory write, single source address and parameter value. It sets the value 61 in hexadecimal to the source address FC4C within 68K RAM, and that creates just a momentary earthquake effect in the background. So now we can send our perfectly sanitized corruption to our stash. It will appear as the most recent item within our stash history. We can throw it onto the stockpile. We'll call it temp earthquake. And I'm accepting background input into the ROM, so every once in a while you'll notice some stuff going on the screen while I'm typing in. It's just hotkeys and I'm accidentally hitting when I'm typing stuff in. However, I don't like this effect a lot, only because it's only temporary, only for a few seconds, and that's it. It's over. What I would like to see is this effect continue along maybe the entire level or maybe even the entire game. I just want a constant earthquake effect. Now, given our current corruptor, or our current method of corrupting, that isn't the case. We're only setting a temporary value within memory, and once that value chooses to change, like after some variable switches the state back to its original value, or once it removes the earthquake, it doesn't return back to it. Instead of that, what if we set that value to be permanently whatever we send to the, what if we permanently set that value, essentially? So right now it's 61 at source address FC4C, and after maybe 5 seconds, that will change. Instead, we can use something similar to Cheat Engine, and actually it is Cheat Engine underneath the hood, to permanently set the value at that source address. So let's give that a go. I've now changed the blast unit type from a blast byte to a blast cheat, and I'm seeing if this stays. It actually doesn't, interesting enough, which is unfortunate, but hey, it happens. So what I imagine would happen if I set this to be a blast cheat is that this value would be permanently within memory, and we would have that permanent effect. That isn't the case. It looks like we only got a temporary offset. You'll see when we load the emulation, the background screen shifts a little bit. But that's about it, so we don't get a permanent effect there. Script some early 2000 era PC games. PC games are tricky, so it definitely is possible. There's a couple systems that BizHawk supports. Actually, I am curious at what those are, so I'm gonna check those out. So BizHawk is the emulator I use, by the way, in case you're curious. That is tied with the real-time corruptor. They're sort of hand in hand. And let's see. I need to see BizHawk supported systems. Anything that the BizHawk emulator can emulate, you can usually corrupt fairly easily. Minus N64. So one thing I can corrupt is the NEC PC engine, which would support early, I think, 2000s games. Also, we can do, what else is the PC? There's also, I think, the Apple II, Mattel and Television, stuff like that. Also, I would like to do some TI-83 or 83 game corruptions, but I haven't had a chance to. You use BizHawk too? That's cool. I like BizHawk. I've been now suggesting it to a lot of people, just because, I mean, if you can take care of the cores and you know the trade-offs with the various cores, then BizHawk is just as flexible as, say, some other multi-systems. I can't remember the name of it. I use MUVR, which heavily is supported on... Now I gotta look it up. I don't know what MUVR uses. It's on the tip of my tongue, too. Anyways, I'm going to throw this in chat, in case you've never heard of it. MUVR is a wonderful virtual environment for, I guess, emulating games? Yeah, that's how I'd say it. Emulating games is a great sort of space to be in. And I did corruptions in the virtual environment once, and it was one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had corrupting. I would like to do that again. I don't know how well it would perform on this PC. I don't think too well. I said I have to do it when I get back home. But very fun environment to be in. And I use the VineSauce ROM corruptor for that, so I can directly manipulate the bytes without having to rely on a secondary emulator. And that was just directly to the ROM. And at any point, if I would pull out the ROM and place the ROM back inside the emulated system within the game, it would reload that ROM, in which case I could still create corruptions on the fly. And that was super enjoyable. I would like take out the ROM and shake it a little bit and then throw it on the ground and put it back in the system, and then there'd be a new corruption. Because I was doing all this stuff on the back end. You've never seen some Atari 2600 corruptions. I don't think I have either. I don't think I've done any Atari 2600. I think I considered it too, because I was curious if I wanted to do, I wanted to do Breakout, I think, but I didn't get the chance to do so. I think Sky Coasterman had asked me to do... Oh, I don't know my Atari systems. 4800? BizHawk, supported systems... so much BizHawk unhandled exceptions research. $7,800. I don't know where I got $4,800 from. He asked me to do the $7,800, which I haven't done that either. But both of which I think would corrupt extremely well, in the same sense that, oh yeah, $7,800, my bad, not 72. Because I think that's the only one it supports. It only does the 26 and the 78. Yeah. Anyways, I think it would corrupt extremely well. Similar to the... Does it do the 52? Ah, does it really? I don't see that listed on their page. It might still support it though, because there might be some core backwards compatibility thing there that's going on. I haven't tried emulating it though, so you would know more than me. Where was I going with that again? Oh, I think it would corrupt very well. Similar to the NES, just because it's just real basic instructions where... No, you're fine. Real basic instructions with the ROMs that you could almost open the ROM in Notepad and manipulate the bytes as long as you know you don't overflow anything. It wouldn't be too difficult. And it would absolutely be supported within the real-time corruptor, and it would be, in fact, very easy. So I'd recommend it. For further information, we don't have a page on... We don't. That's unfortunate. We have the corrupt.wiki, which I sort of help contribute to. I don't contribute very often, but I would like to. It's more training for me and getting used to pull requests and stuff like that, because I'm not used to the GitHub environment. I'm a computer science student, so I'm trying to get used to all that. And what better way than learning how to corrupt and stuff like that. But unfortunately, there's no page for any sort of the older systems. They're more for modern stuff like PS1, PC. Oh, there is PC corruptions. Oh, to do. A cheat engine tutorial would be very useful there. Anyway. Speaking of Factorial, cheat engine would be probably the way to go about corrupting Factorial, or the Windows Glitch Harvester. One or the other. Windows Glitch Harvester would probably perform better in the end than cheat engine. I'm a computer science student too. Hey, look at you. Nice. I do a game systems concentration, so I'm headed towards that route, but gotta love the computer science. I'm just starting in C++ now. I have a heavy background in Python and a bit of Java, not too much. I'm just moving towards C++ now and learning about optimization for code and stuff like that. All very enjoyable. I enjoy it a lot. Anyway, back to corrupting. Let's get this going. What were we doing? We didn't get the temp earthquake working. We didn't get the permanent earthquake working. We got the temp one. And that's okay. We'll keep this as just a temporary effect. We're gonna call this to modify. and say earthquake. But yeah, it's a computer science student. Check out some corruptions. It's good practice. In case you need some brush ups on your hexadecimal logic and stuff like that. I don't know why I said hexadecimal. Bitwise logic and stuff like that. It would help you out. Or some learning into programming in case you're unfamiliar with it. I think the real-time corruptor is written in C#, and then the Windows glitch harvester, no, vice versa. Windows glitch harvester is written in C#, Microsoft product, and then the real-time corruptor is written in C++ and a mixture of C#. So if you're interested in contributing to that stuff, I highly recommend it. We're gonna blast the emulation a couple more times, find some new corruptions. There's a good sound one there. Still not something I want to keep yet. I'm looking for a really good sound corruption. This one, I'm not controlling her at all. So that's interesting. She doesn't just start attacking for no reason, right? Yeah. This one's like an AI took over my controller or something like that. I have no control over the character. That's funny. It's almost like how you leave the game running. It's like a demo mode. Do we want to keep that? I mean, I don't know if that's any intended behavior. Let's sanitize it and throw it on the stockpile. Just as a safe, kinda. Okay, yeah. Normally she just sits there forever. So cool, it's not me going crazy. In case you're wondering why the emulation is running so fast, we have the power of turbo on our backs. We're able to really quickly move this emulation at like 500 times speed, which makes corrupting a breeze sometimes. Not with GameCube though. Can't speed up GameCube score. Which is why some of those will take a very long time to sanitize. Alright, got a single memory right. I'm gonna call this like to modify demo mode. I'm thinking of a new way to phrase some of these corruptions because I've been doing. How about we just do like a hyphen in like demo mode? I like that. I need a way to signify that these are components that I'd like to put into a hybrid corruption, and I need a way of signifying my hybrid corruptions sort of for the final stockpile. Because I'm corrupting in a new way as of lately, different from what I normally do. Before I would just do components and that was it, never combine the two together. But now I'm finding we get some really good, interesting corruptions when we combine them. For example, I don't think these two would be that good together, but you can have an earthquake and then also she runs and does her own thing. What's happening here? There's a hotkey to slow down the emulation. Every once in a while I hit it and all the sound kind of gets slow when the game runs slow, so sorry about that. We're gonna find a new corruption now. There's a sound one. I kind of like that. It's so far from the original, and there's lots of bells in there. I like this one. Let's keep this. Now, music corruptions are tricky, and you have to have a trained ear to make sure that you're getting the exact same effect every single time around, because, especially if you're corrupting just the music chip itself, you could be losing a lot of the effects. Like maybe you're losing multiple instruments, you could be losing certain pitches that you wanted originally, and then you've heard it so many times that you're starting to lose what it sounded like. They're difficult to sanitize in the end. In case this one, I think we've lost some of the effect that we originally had. For example, I'll send this to the stash now, I just want to compare them. Where did my stash go? Oh, alright, there it is. So here's the original. Something's not right. There's the original. Okay. I thought it was going crazy for a moment. You notice, like, it's sort of more bass heavy at some points in the background. And that tone's a little bit different right there. That sort of resounding one. That's different from what we have now. And I like the other one much better than this version. This one, I mean, hardly has anything when we invert it. This one just has bells, and that was the only signifier that I heard that made me remember, okay, the corruption's still there. So, in this case, I think it's okay to sanitize it in this sense. I mean, I think it's okay not to sanitize it in this sense. Just because we're no matter what gonna lose out on the effect, and my ear isn't trained well enough to be able to identify every single note and pitch and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna leave it as is. I'm not gonna sanitize it, which is kind of rare for me, but with music corruptions I usually give it a pass on it. So let's throw this on. We're gonna call it... Oh, there's an instrument I wanted to name this after and I had it just a moment ago. What was it named? I'm not gonna get it either. I know if I open MPT right now, which I don't have downloaded on this machine, I have it on my laptop, my other one. I'm already pulling it up, so I might as well. There's an update, 1.28. I used to make music on stream. I think I did about 3 music streams, and I really enjoyed that. And I kind of liked the results we came out with. I didn't spend too long on them. Did I die? I did die. I wasn't paying attention. Man, I'm not even know where my instrument folder is. It's like a Windheiser or something like that. Yeah, I think it starts with a W. Windheiser, is that the instrument? Windheiser? No. Alright, I give up. We're gonna call it wind chime because we're bad at naming stuff. Where's my window? There's my window. So here's the demo what I was thinking of. We're gonna call it, we're gonna call it wind chimes. And this is still a component, so we're gonna put the hyphen in there. I gotta turn off the hotkey to slow down the game. I hit it too often. Alright. From the top, actually we can re-roll this corruption now to see if we get sort of different musical effects out of it. Sometimes when you do that you might like one musical effect over another, and that's why it's always good to re-roll your corruptions. It's not as safe to re-roll since we don't have it sanitized, but I think it'll be okay in this case. It's much better to re-roll a sanitized corruption because you know you're only affecting that singular memory right that you had chosen. But we're gonna try. Some of these pitches sound kind of off to me. That one I kind of like. I'm gonna compare this to this one. No, I like that better. I like the scratchy, rough bass in the background for a moment there. Alright, I'm ready to move on. I'm gonna clear my history out for the stash, just so it's clear. Nice and empty. And we're gonna blast target with a new one. I like this area, and we're not fighting anyone, which is nice. That's when we can probably make infinite, where she kicks up. Oh no, unless she stops after a couple seconds. I don't really want to keep that either, there's no reason to. There's another sort of musical one that I dig. Oh man, I like these music ones. I'm digging it. Again, we can't sanitize that because in 50%, for example, in this case, you hear that wonderful piano. What sounds like an awful piano to me, at least. And you flip this to the other side, and you can hear the pitches a little bit off. We want those two together in the same corruption, so we gotta keep it all in the same. We keep trying to re-roll it, but that just removes, well, it would be a little too difficult to do so. I'm gonna call this Dread. And I'm gonna disable that hotkey right now because every time I seem to hit that button. So hotkeys, it's gonna be a what? There were real-time corruptor hotkeys. Glitch harvester load, glitch harvester save, glitch harvester just corrupt, load and corrupt. What? These are so many commands I can now set up. Oh, if I had a stream deck, I tell you. I wish I had a stream deck. I could do a numpad thing, but I have to work that out. That's awesome. I didn't know there was keys for the real-time corruptor. I knew there were some kind of hotkeys, but not to this extent. I'm looking for... what is this even called? Increase speed, decrease speed. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, and I was hitting the minus symbol. That makes sense. I didn't want to hit the minus symbol because that's what I've been using as my my hyphen, my indication. So escape clears the map key. Escape, escape. No more of that. I hit them way too often, and I've never needed that. I can just use the turbo anyways. Like that. Cool. So we got Dread. We can try rerolling it. Lots of like great sounds, like they just sound pleasant. It's not deafening or too monotone. It's nice. Let's continue along. Let's get some more graphical corruptions. I'd like to keep those green bricks, but I know I only like it because it's a shadow corruption. This is a nice one. Unfortunately, it's not too interesting, but let's save it since we haven't seen anything like this yet. So we'll sanitize it a bit here. What does this remind me of? I can only think of Game & Watch. That's just what's stuck in my head. But I know there's something else to it. Like it looks like something I've seen before. It has like the shape of like an armyman. Those green army figurines. Okay. Single member, right? Throw it on the stash. What do we call this? I don't know. How about corruption camo? Kind of like that. There we go. Corruption camo, let's reroll it. This one here. We get some different corruption colors. This is much nicer actually because it really does look like camouflage. Blockman, that's another good one. I like camo because this actually fits with camo. Like that almost looks like it is camouflage. So I'm actually gonna throw this one on top instead. We're gonna call this corruption camo. Remove this other one. It's nice you turn red the other way. Very neat. Oh, everyone has that. Oh, that's neat. All right. A couple more rerolls. Let's see what else we can get out of it. That's just muscles. That's just a stack of muscles. Oh, this was just letters. I mean, we can call this one if we wanted to. Like, how about missing go? Ew. Yeah, right. Come on. That's like bulging too, and it's like flexing. Missing no? Is it missing? How's that spelled? I think I'm spelling it right. Yeah, missing number, but it's N-O. Is that what it stands for? Yeah, missing number. Why is it N-O? It should be N-U, shouldn't it? Yeah, thank you. I never made that like comparison before. Anyway, we're gonna do this is a component corruption, so we're gonna do missing no. Alright. Reroll a couple more times. Oh, that one's a much cooler one. Let's do that one. That one glows. What a cool corruption. Shoot. I would like this to be a character in any fighting game. Like, yeah, you have your regular, you know, Drake and Josh and all those kind of characters. I can't think of any fighter names right now. Ryu. And I don't play fighters very often. You have all your fighter names, but you also have just corruption. Oh, okay. It's abbreviated to no or end with that, like, to the power of O, because of Latin. Numero. That makes a lot more sense. Cool. Thank you for explaining that. That probably would have gave me, like, maybe not nightmares, but I would have thought about that tonight and I wouldn't have had an answer and probably would have kept me up for a little bit. You have solved that for me. Thank you. Anyways, corruption as a Street Fighter or as any type of fighter, even something as simple as, what was that Shrek game called? Shrek Bash. I think it was Shrek Bash. No, Shrek. There's a fighting game. Super Slam, even as bad as Super Slam. I would be okay with that. There's this cool thing that Google that you used. Hey, I appreciate Google Fu, which is a skill in itself. Some people just don't have the ways. I have a much nicer setup back home. I have, you know, a couple monitors so I can have like a streaming monitor and then a monitoring monitor? A stream monitoring monitor so I can keep an eye on my stream. And then I also have like a window for Googling and stuff like that, and maybe another one for Discord. Google Feud? That'd be kind of a cool game show. Like Family Feud. But instead of a survey like outside a supermarket with like a bunch of just random people, they do just Google results and Google polls. But no, Google Fu. They're like Kung Fu, but it's your Google Fu. Is it really an actual game? No, really? Google Feud. I'm so curious. Look at that! There's even a website for it. Oh my god, that's insane! I've never heard of this. The world's most popular autocomplete game. Try to guess what Google will suggest. Webby Award winner for the best game, created by Justin Hook. That is so funny. It's an actual online game. How about that? Well, we have another stream idea at some point. Been around for years. I had never heard of this before. There's so many like Google products I hadn't heard of before. I used to love, there's, I think, Google Labs, where they had like all their sort of odd and ends programs that they had made, or abandoned projects that they decided to keep online for a little while. They took down, I think, Google Labs, so you don't have access to that anymore, unfortunately, but it had all these like sort of odd software bits here and there that I loved looking at. For some weird reason, what's that, I gotta find it. Dreamcast fish name guy. For some reason that reminded me of Seaman, and I need to also stream that game for the Dreamcast. I thought of odd things, and that brought me to Seaman. I would like to stream a lot of the games for the Dreamcast, but my problem with doing that is setting up the Dreamcast. I need to go out and get a Dreamcast somewhere, like at a yard sale, because I don't have a Dreamcast, and I have to get the BIOS somewhere. Once I have that, I also need to find my old games like Jet Set Radio and Seaman. I need to pull those BIOS and put that together. And then once I have all that stuff, then I need to figure out if they actually corrupt well or not. So that's a lot of work to get to the point where I figure out if they corrupt. I haven't decided yet. If someone were to lend me their Dreamcast, like someone at the dorms or something like that, if they had one, I would absolutely just give that a go. But for the time being, that's a no-go. At some point, though. There's a lot of good games on the Dreamcast. By the way, with your channel avatar, it looks like the same online and offline because it's mostly grayscale like an offline channel. I didn't know that. That is kind of probably not too, what'd you phrase that? That's probably confusing. But, oh well. I'm not gonna have it recolored. Thank you for the heads up, though. I guess, in case anyone is wondering. I guess I would hope that there are people that are online above me and below me, and that will give an indication that I'm online. Oh well. Thanks for the heads up, though. Pink raccoon? Yeah! I would go for like a purple raccoon. I'm a purple kind of guy, but yeah, I'll consider it. I'll look around at different colors at some point. Thank you for the heads up, though. That's helpful. I didn't know that. Alright, where were we? We were just finishing up on Missing No. Missing Go. Or paused, though. I already paused. There we go. And we're going to do an all-new one. There's some stuff on the screen. Looks like garbage on the floor. Oh, there it all goes. Alright. I need to stop with the music corruptions. I need to stop grabbing them. But there's so many good ones. A little bit of theremin there. Okay, how about Z80? We're gonna try some Z80 corruptions. So we're having a lot of crashes, which makes me think I should lower the intensity, and yet, even when we don't crash, most of the time we're not getting very good results. There's a little bit of something there. Okay, let's try lowering the intensity. Down to 250. I can't keep a beat. Oh, and it stopped. So I was gonna say, that's like a nice metronome thing going on there. Let's move on. Yeah, no, nothing I really want to keep here. DJ's crashes. It almost sounds like, you know, when they stop the music suddenly, like someone walks in the room and they just cut the music, and it's that little scritch scratch. Remind me of that. Ooh, that was my neck. Ooh, there's a good one. Knew we would get something out of it. That's a good one. We'll call this... This reminds me of Kirby and Dreamland. It's like that kind of soft... Is overtones the right word? Undertones? The soft music. It's kind of light and floaty. Sound like I dropped something? Oh. I dropped arthritis in my neck. I have a problem with cracking knuckles and my neck and all my other bones. You programmers, they do that, right? I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna call this... I want to name it after something... Oh wow, that sounds awful. I want to name it after something like Kirby, but... I don't know if that's... inherent. Like you can just... This sounds like a music that you would hear in Kirby. Maybe not. Then again, I can't think of anything else I would hear this kind of music from. It also does crash, so we should sanitize it. So let's do that. Oh, okay, that scared me. Wasabi Tonic, what's going on? You've been streaming for a while. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? We had some Wasabi hellos in chat for my fellow Wasabi subscribers. We're not too far into corrupting yet, but we've got a couple things. I can hear a little bit of a beat in the background now. We've got that. We've got some corruption camo for when you want to be a camo officer. We got a lot of music corruptions, like this one's a little bit of Dread. What up, Brisby? How you doing? You get that Tomb Raid? You watching it at the same time? That's like, I think I am too. I think I have Wasabi's up to keep an eye on his chat. We have some wind chimes for the more calm people, in case you want to hear some wind chimes when you're punching people in the face. We have demo mode where Blaze just kind of goes off and I'm not controlling the character at all. She just controls herself, so it's like it's in demo mode and you're actually getting points for it. Earthquake, where just the screen shakes for a couple moments there. And just a shadow corruption, which I like. So not too far so far. We're gonna do some combining a little bit, and once we get a couple more components down, we can throw them all together. Yeah, I'm excited to see you guys do some co-op. I've seen you guys do twins before, and that's always awesome. You make me want to pick up 1 Hour, One Life. Oh, I haven't give you a shout out. I'll give you a shout out here, Mr. Wasabi. I don't have Nightbot, but I'm just gonna type it out manually, and I'll say it vocally. Check out Wasabi Sonic. Did I do that right? I think that's right enough. Alright. Anyways, for anyone that is popping in from Wasabi stream, hello and welcome. I'm TechSupportSparky and I do corruptions on stream most of the time. What I do is I have various... Oh, that sounds terrible. Let's not do that. I have various tools that I use to corrupt video games and save corruptions, create stockpiles out of them that people play afterwards. That's what I normally do. And right now we're just going through and creating new corruptions. Oh, speaking of which, if you're sensitive to flashing lights or bright sounds or anything like that, I do forewarn you. We do have a lot of flashing lights on the screen. We're actually just about to take a look at one of those corruptions that do, so just a forewarning in case you're sensitive to that type of material. I may avoid it if I were you. So we're gonna move to that corruption now. I would like to, I think, keep this one, because that's kind of a neat flashing effect. I'd like to be able to knock down the intensity if I can, so we're gonna try to do that. What I'm doing now is I'm just sanitizing the corruption, make it a little bit more stable, so when someone else plays it, they can play it without running into any crashes further along the way. And with Wasabi Tonic, if you're still around, I was trying to propose we should do some real-time corruption multiplayer at some point. I know we tried that in the past, so we can see if we can do that again, get that working. Do a little bit of soundboarding with corruptions. Alright, we're gonna save this. We're gonna call it flashing. That's all I really want to put for that. And we're gonna reroll that corruption and see if we get any other effects out of it. Nope. Most of these are just crashes. I think the problem was port forwarding, because I don't have access to a router at either location that I'm at. I'm not able to save the settings, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's about it for that. And I think you need to port forward in order to connect the real-time corruption corruptors together. But yeah, if we ever get that working, it's gonna be a very exciting thing to do on stream. It combines our two passions. I like corrupting and you like playing old school games, so yeah, throw those two together. Pipes! Yes, pipes! It reminded me of Chibi Robo for a second, which I had save states ready for to corrupt Chibi Robo for the GameCube, and I never used them. I had an entire stream where I went through and made a bunch of save states ready for corruption, and I never used them. Anyways, we are going to save this one, and I like the name Pipes, so we're just going to keep that. Thank you for the suggestion there. Is this the actual like pipe animation that they use on you later on, where they like beat you up with pipes? I hope it's part of it. I guess that's hilarious. I am the pipe. Alright, single memory rate, throw it on the stash. And throw it on stockpile, we'll call it pipes. Can't use your suggestion, find your own. We'll just call them tobacco pipes instead. That'll be a lot better. Let's try re-rolling that. Oh, get some different characters out of it. That's kind of neat. We get, I think this is part of an ocean? No, kind of looks like waves. Or pipes. Character model. That's a little different effects here and there. Ocean. Oh. I mean, you know we gotta do it, right? Can I do the Kitboga version? Is that allowed? I don't know if I'm able to do that. No, we probably can't do that. But we're still going to. I'll do like 10 seconds and then post it in chat in case you want to check it out. Okay, I think that's all I'm allowed to do. But hey, Kiboga, awesome guy. Check that guy out. He also streams, in case you're ever curious about that guy. He does some scammer awareness in case you... Have you ever seen those like IRS scams or those like tech support scams where it's like, call this number and get your PC fixed, and then they're just trying to steal your credit card credentials? That guy calls them and then does some awesome voice changers like a grandmother or like just some blonde girl, which sounds awful, I shouldn't say that stereotype, but stuff like that, and essentially just waste their time so they're not wasting, so they're not just trying to scam other people. They'll just talk to them for like an hour or so. It's good stuff. I recommend it. We're gonna send some new corruptions on stream. Ooh, I like that orange effect. Got an orange sky. Oh, we didn't save Ocean Man. Let's save that. That was a good suggestion. Alright. I'm going to need your assistance in pronouncing your name once again. I need a way to break it down. And I almost want to pull up last stream because he gave me like a phonetic pronunciation guide, which was very helpful, and I kept referring back to that. No. You can't say no. I remember the first part of it was like a hard, like, it was a, how would you say that? A hard pronunciation. Charlock. It's Charlock. That was it. Charlock is what I'm going to type in the chat. And I am so sorry if I have to use the phonetic for it. And I'm going to throw this on as Ocean Man. But thank you, Charlock. And we actually put notes on these. We're going to do that. Ocean Man. And I'm going to put just that. Should I do the full name? It's the full name. We're going to do this for a couple of these. Because I got that one and pipes. And flashing, missing no, I had that one. Corrupted camo, dread, wind chimes, demo earthquake. I forget if you did any of these other ones. Let me know if you did. I'll throw your name on those. Alright, moving forward. Oh, I want to keep some of these colors. That's a nice like blue. We had that nice like orange colored one. Don't you hate when those names are taken? Man. I have trouble with tech support because a lot of websites don't let you name yourself as tech support because they think it's a scam. I get that. Completely. Like Gmail, I can't use an account like tech support. I have to do something totally different, which I won't say what it is, but something completely away from tech support because you can't have either the name tech or the name support in your email name. Maybe unless you do a business account. Maybe I should have tried that, but too late now. Let's sanitize this. I want to keep just a bunch of color ones together, so I'm going to give that a go. Sex support? Oh, that almost sounded inappropriate. Sec? I could just do, how about... NetSec support would work, but you can't have the word support. Oh, I just read it. Oh, I read it improperly the first time around. Sec support. You know what? You take that name. That is such a good name. That would probably work on everything too. In case Charlock is taken, highly suggest that. Anyways, I like the name. For the longest time, I went by a different username. But there's just an individual who joined a Discord channel that I frequent who also had a very similar name, and we both went by nicknames, and the nicknames would be the exact same nickname, so if someone would call us that and we would both respond. So I ditched that, and then that was around the time I was starting on Twitch, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll make something new, and I went with that. I think the image I used to use before I had this profile image drawn up was Roy O'Dodd. I think that's his full name. He's a guy from the IT crowd. Roy from the show. I think it's Roy. No, it's Chris O'Dodd. Chris O. D-A-W-D. His name was Roy in the show. Anyways, that's where I got tech support from, because I really liked that show, so I used his image, and then eventually I just went to my own image, and that was that. I'm not gonna read that, but those donation lures, they're so mean. But I get why people do them, because it's kind of funny when you hear it out loud, especially with something like that. Good stuff. Orange sky, there we go. And I'm gonna reroll this now. So we got a green sky. With our previous one, I think it was the shadow corruption. Let me sanitize this. We never actually fully sanitized this. I just was considering keeping it, but I didn't. So we're going to now keep it. Also, thank you for this game suggestion, Charlock. I would not have done Genesis if it wasn't for your suggestion. Oh, also I corrupted this improperly. Whoa, what did I do there? Ooh, I did a really bad thing. I am gonna write up for Neri because I broke something. I don't know what I broke though. I need this crash report. So I got. Is this a crash report? Not really. It's like a. I ran into an unhandled exception that I'm now going to report to Neri, the assistant, I guess, or one of the helpers of the real-time corruptor. I'm also going to save my stockpile because I'm going to now need to forcefully crash the real-time corruptor. We'll call this, I don't know, Streets Rage 2 stockpile. That is now saved, and now I can close down the glitch harvester, crash that. And it's not gonna let me, unfortunately, restart it nicely, so we gotta crash everything down, break it all down. It's very important to save your stockpiles because there's not a lot of safety for that. I wish there was more safety precautions, especially with the Windows glitch harvester. Oh my god, it is so easy to lose a stockpile, and I usually get so frustrated when I've been spending like maybe an hour or two. I don't sound frustrated when I actually get into this because I'm just like, well, it was my own fault for losing that stockpile. I should have been more precautious. Don't like get annoyed on stream or anything like that. But I have lost, of maybe 20 streams that I've streamed the real-time corruptor for GameCube or Wii corruptions, I've probably lost about half of them because of just no warning messages. If you changed like one file directory that the Windows glitch harvester is pointing at, it will not give you any warning. It will just flush out your stockpile without, any prompt to save or anything like that. Just delete it. And one of my favorite ones was for, what was it? It was for Finding Nemo, which was about, 2 weeks ago. And it was probably one of my favorite streams I've done in a long time because it corrupted so damn well for the GameCube. And there was one specific corruption that I loved, and it's in my highlights if you go see it. It's something like Marlon, every time he talks, his face is extremely expressive and he sort of puffs up. And I went back because, I streamed the blast editor and all that stuff, and I went to go recapture that source address and the value that I sent to memory, and unfortunately I couldn't because the blast editor in that moment was a little too small and I couldn't quite read the address or some of the values, so I couldn't get the memory address back. So unfortunately that corruption was lost. Stuff like that, it bothers me. I would love if I knew a little bit of C#, I would contribute to the Windows glitch harvester to add some prompts like that. Hopefully give it a little bit of warning about losing your stockpile, but I don't know any C#, and that would be the only contribution I think I could make. What did I miss? Have you ever considered corrupting the corruptor emoji? Usually when you're corrupting something you want, that's absolutely possible. I could just open the executable in Notepad and just type random stuff in there. Corrupting in that sense, though, I like when I don't know a lot about memory domains, or I don't know a lot about the program itself. I would need to study it a little bit, understand how it works, and know where you kind of want to target. And that's what the real-time corruptor does, and a lot of other existing corruption programs. I highly suggest as a more basic program, Vine Corrupt, which is written by some individual for, I think, a school project. And it lists off the NES, the SNES, Nintendo 64, Game Boy, DS, all of the above. it sort of gives a small breakdown of the file protection that those provide. Like, if it knows that you're sending a memory address to a memory address that would crash the ROM or crash the program, it will not do it. It will just do a different corruption. It will just not send like division by zero arrows and stuff like that. That's a real basic explanation. I don't think I can go too far in depth with it. So doing stuff like the corruptor, I don't know if I'd be able to corrupt window processes. I know it's possible though. Swim through all the rings. Swim through all the rings. That's right. That was part of Nemo too. Man, that was a good stream. I enjoyed that one. I would like to corrupt Nemo again at some point, but I just was so unhappy with losing that stock file. No. Anyway, back to Street to Rage 2. We're going to load in our stockpile, which is right here. And I think what I did was I don't want to do it again, but I think I either showed system core or I unchecked one of these. Oh, you can't see that because I don't show tooltips on stream. There's a bunch of, when you right click one of the corruptions, you can say show item name, show game name, show system core, show note. One of those I disabled. I think it was show game name, and that caused it to crash for some reason. I'll write up a report for that. Show generic. Alright. From the top, we're going to do a 200. Well, I'd like to give a try to M68K bus just to see what we can do. I'm gonna load the same point in the game. Yeah, like there's some nice results there that I'm seeing off the bat just with some random prototyping. So let's do that. Let's corrupt a different portion of the game though, just because we've already done so much here. And I've actually already lost my manual save state. Do they still load? Yeah, they still load, okay. I was worried about that for a moment. We didn't sanitize this one yet. We'll do that a little bit later, once we combine corruptions once again. Let's corrupt, I want to corrupt the arcade. All of our save states are messed up again. Shoot. Okay, so we no longer have the arcade. We've lost a lot of places. Let's do Jet, I guess. Man. Lots of these are lost. I just set save state setting to like my numpad so I don't accidentally hit these buttons so often. So we'll do Jet. Select a save state, manual. There we go. And let's blast send. So like here, for example, it's telling us to go, but we can't go anywhere. That sticks on screen. Is this one gone too? Oh, even this one's gone. This one was one of the ones I liked. It was like a weird alien amusement park place. I should back up my save states in the future. Okay, I'm gonna up the intensity since we're really not seeing too much. Up it to 3000. Now we're crashing a little too often. Let's do 2000. Oh, look at those colors. Beautiful. Is that a wave effect on the ground normal? Oh, it is, okay. I was gonna say, that's a cool effect if it's not. So I'm not seeing too much there. VS RAM, that's like VS RAM, I think, as per normal to where the backgrounds are drawn and stuff like that, so we're not going to get... Actually, we will get a permanent corruption, won't we? We can try the Hell Genie engine, which will make permanent effects out of this, I believe. So we can have permanent screen shifts. Yeah. So we can move this around. Like if you want the colors Or I guess just the screen shifted. Like if you want water down there instead. None of this I would want to keep, but it's cool to see nonetheless. Let's try some CRAM, which doesn't seem to have any effect. We can auto-corrupt. I'm not seeing anything. We could try boot ROM, which doesn't have any fatal effects, but I think when we reload a save state it may. That seems to be right. MD cart. That's a crash. And you'll notice now, so I can't reload any save states right now. They're all kind of frozen in place. Oh, this one isn't though. Now we can. Now they're all kind of broken. So that just means that, ooh, that's a cool looking effect. That's actually a really cool effect. Look at that, I want to screenshot that. And I'm gonna put that in Augur. Very pretty. Anyways, that tells us that we corrupted a system function, so we can't reload any of our save states. Corruptions. There we go. Oh, I saw a question. Have you ever corrupted a Game Gear title or Master System? I think Master System, but I can't remember which. Let me check. I know I did one Master System one. Or at least I tried. Oh no, I tried a, let me see. Yeah, I tried Earthworm Jim, which is actually just posted a screenshot in Oddbrew a little while ago I was trying out Earthworm Jim. It didn't seem to corrupt too well, so I wasn't going to do it for the Master System. I may do it for whatever other platforms Earthworm Jim is on. I forget all the platforms. It's like SNES, or the Genesis, or the Master System. I think, right? Am I right in that? Yeah. That's also for the Game Gear. What? No. But no Game Gear either. That'd be an interesting one. If you have any titles that you'd like to check out for any of those, feel free to shout that out. Like I said, I normally test them out ahead of stream. If it corrupts well, I absolutely stream it. If it doesn't, I usually pop in with like, oh, I tried this, it didn't work out too well. Something like that. Should we save this? I would like to save this if possible. But I don't think we'll ever be able to play this. We can give it a try though. We have 2,000 memory rights, so it takes a little bit longer to load. And no, we're not gonna be able to load that. Also because it's targeting a different save state, so that'll never work. But we're gonna reboot our core now, which will allow us to now run our save states once again. Let's do one here. Okay. We're gonna go back to 68K RAM. So previously we were using the Nightmare engine with the random types, an intensity of 1000. I would like to try tilt type. So given a random source address, the parameter value at that source address increment or decrement by a value of 1. So we're gonna give that a go within the glitch officer and see if anything changes. Normally when we do that, we want to it's a cool crash. Normally when we do that, we want to increase our intensity since it's sort of a safer corruption. But yeah, we had some good results with that one. There's an enemy walking down from the sky. It crashes as soon as he hits you, or you hit him. Lots of shadow ones. I love the shadow ones. Surprisingly, it's less stable if you do tilt types, it looks like. Oh, I think it's because we had 500 before. We can return to that. Then again, we're running into a lot of crashes. There's no Buffotti on the screen, just a empty shadow. Ah, there's a good one. Let's save this. This reminds me of, ooh, now we gotta find the name of this. Those like old crystal disc, what are those things called? Laserdisc? Is that what I'm thinking of? No, that's not the name of it. Laserdisc, it was like a... You know, maybe it was. I think there's a more generic term for it then. Laser, old school system games. No, I'm not gonna be able to find this. Alright. So many things that I just don't know the name of. Anyways, lucky for us, this is fairly easy to check if it's the corruption persists, so it's easy to sanitize. I don't know what to call this. Maybe like... 70... Oh, that's not right. 70. 70 Flash. That's not really too good of a name, but it'll work. Alright. From there, let's try re-rolling that. I don't think we'll get much of a different effect out of it. It looks the same for the most part. Alright. Clearing history, blasting send. Yeah, they are flashing like hypersonic, aren't they? That'd probably be a better name. I'm not as familiar with hypersonic as I am with supersonic, but I think you're right. It does more kind of look like hypersonic. Type animated. Just want to see some color. Yeah, you're right. Let's do that. I'm gonna throw you some more naming rights. Hypersonic. We're gonna throw this in here. By Charlock 47. Was it only one game? That's why I have no familiarity with hypersonic. I was like, I know what supersonic looks like, but he's gold. But yeah, I wasn't familiar. What game was that even in? Hypersonic. Some nice sounds here and there. Sonic 3 and Knuckles? That was all the way back in Sonic 3? Man. I do not know my IPs. Oh, more shadow corruptions. I want to keep the purple. We're keeping the purple. They got me because it's my favorite color. I mean, come on. We're gonna call this Shantae. It does look like a black light, you are correct. It totally does, actually. Even more than... No, I still want to name it Shantae, though. But you're right, it totally looks like that. How about we can mix the two together? How about Shantae and the Curse of the Black Light, even though that kind of cuts off. We'll do that. There we go, mix it with the two. if we reroll, we'll get some different coloration out of it, hopefully. Or no, just one color. Purple or no purple? Yeah. Alright, moving on. Pretty striking result. Ooh. Keep this one too. Okay, this looks like something I know. Looks like something out of Mega Man. Ah. Frozen? But yeah, I guess, okay, I thought you meant for a second, like, Disney's Frozen. I was like, don't, we're not gonna call this Frozen. But yeah, they kind of look like they're frozen in place. Is the guy frozen in place too? He looks like he can't move. Am I frozen in place? Oh, I am. Everyone's frozen in place. Oh, and also the game crashes after a while. Let's see. Yeah, the game actually freezes up and goes to the title screen. That might be a hard corruption to keep then. I got a single memory right, how about that? Simpson Stash, throw it on the stuff pile. I like Frozen, that is a good name. I hope you don't mind me stealing your creative copyrights. But I'm awful at naming, so you're doing a fantastic job at helping me, thank you. Name by Charlock. I'm gonna name this improperly. By Char... Lock 47. Alright. Okay. Alright, from the top. So this one's the actual, like, death screen where you actually get the scores. But you can still kind of see the game underneath. Let's see. Also, you can have a torso removed off her. Yeah, it looks like the Nutcracker, yeah. I couldn't think of what that would be called. It just looks kind of strange. Like the rest of her is like a prosthetic. Can't even jump. Do we want to keep this though? I don't know, shoot. It's sanitized, we can throw it on here. These are just like temporary names. We're gonna throw them together later. Unfortunately, it has like so many visual corruptions on screen. That's not from VRAM. That's from just the memory domain itself. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's what I want. Without all visual corruptions on it. Call this prosthetic. Delete that one. And the title screen was the thing I was initially corrupting. We're trying to sanitize. There we go. Sorry about the wait, something's freezing up on my end. Give me just a moment. Okay, we're good to go. For this one we had a screen off center a little bit. See if we can adjust that. Kinda. Get a scrolling effect out of it. Not only a temporary one though. Here we get I'm blue, remove these two. Combining all the blue ones together.